And to get from here to here, you're going to experience some pain. And so if you're not experiencing pain in your life, chances are you're not growing. Third thing you got to do is you got to be bold in today's world, because the spotlight's not going to come finding you. You got to take center stage and put yourself in the spotlight. You got to do things that other people are not willing to do. You got to be bold, especially in today's world. And you got to be mentally tough, because there's so many things out there that can distract you and pull you down. There's people out there that's friends of yours that will pull you down. So you got to be bold and step up and do what you want to do, not what other people think is right for you. So that's number 3. Number 4, which is really, really critical. I mentioned letting go. When you step out to do something different, you experience pain. If you're going to change anything in your life, you're going to experience some pain. Maybe the pain is not eating those fast foods that taste so good. In fact, the guy working for me, he was the other day, he was out doing some work on my property. I said, "Man, you've lost a lot of weight." He said, "Yeah, I'm down to my high school weight." I said, "How did you do that?" He said, "I quit eating sugar." I said, "That's it?" He said, "That's all." And I said, "Wow, that's a lot. I mean, you dropped probably 40 pounds. He said, "Man, it wasn't easy." He said, "It was not easy." He said, "I craved that sugar like crazy, but it's painful when you make changes in your life, but you got to be willing to endure that pain, because, the things that you want or things that you're good at is inside this circle. The things that you want is inside this circle. And to get from here to here, you're going to experience some pain. And so if you're not experiencing pain in your life, chances are you're not growing. Yeah. So that's critical. You got to be willing to let go of the feelings that pop up, the fears, made up stories in your mind, which is what a fear is. Basically, it's all made up. Even if I used to say that a bear chasing you is a real fear. No, it actually is not. It's a made up fear. You make it up in your mind. If that bear catches me, he's going to eat me. Just like if I get on stage, the audience is going to eat me. They're going to eat me alive from the stage, which I had those fears when I first started out. So I know how that one feels. So you got to be willing to step out of your comfort zone and experience some pain. Yeah. And then, I think a big one is that you've got to take action. You see, so many people are kind of getting ready to get going. They got a plan. They got to do this. They can't do it until they get their business cards printed or their whatever. Got to get my website up. There's something that you could do today, then do it today. Yes, maybe you do have to have a website, or maybe you do have to get your social media page set up, or whatever it might be. But if there's something you can do today to move you forward, take action today. Don't put it off, because once you've decided what you want, every action you take is going to move you toward it or away from it, period. That's the best success principle that I know of. You want to be wealthy. Let's say you want to make $1,000 a day and you work 10 hours a day. So your time's worth $100 an hour. Okay. So become self-observant of yourself, and you get on your computer and you go on Facebook and you start scrolling, and you just realize you spent 30 minutes scrolling through and liking this and liking that and doing this and that, which is mostly meaningless, unless you're doing business on there and you're private messaging and doing some type of business, but most people aren't. What you have to do is stop and go, wait a minute, I just spent $50 on Facebook. It cost me a half hour and I make $100 an hour. I just spent $50. Was it worth $50? You see, that's what we have to do with our time. That's what we have to look at. So you got to take action that moves you in the direction you want to go. And of course, the last thing I think is you've got to not quit. Don't quit. And that's about all I can say about that. Just don't quit. I learned that from my first business, and yeah, also I learned too that there's things that I've gotten involved with that I had to quit because it just wasn't working. But if you know in your heart that this is something that the world needs and you can do, and you just have to stay with it until it gets done.
And what you said there, Jim, about executing really resonated with me, to be honest, because one of the things I always say at the end of every video is to go out and execute, because it is, you know, I've talked about this with previous contributors on this channel a lot. You know, and we were having a discussion about New Year's resolutions, and I hate New Year's resolutions, because why on earth would you wait until New Year to do something that you can do today?
Exactly.
You know, even if you haven't got the plan fully figured out, you just start firing, and you can work the plan out as you go. But you know, just start on that journey. You know, you wouldn't get on a plane without a destination, and you know, you just got to start going. And the other thing that you said that resonated was about fear. And I went to a conference a few years ago. There was a guy there called Miles Hilton Barber, and he's famous. He holds a few world records, but he's basically a blind pilot. And he was the first person to fly across the Atlantic blind. Like, he's totally blind. He's an amazing guy. And he was talking about fear. And he explained fear as an acronym: false expectations appearing real.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, that totally clicked with
Yeah.
what you said there.
That's one friend of mine was a world champion drag racer, and he did drag race. He's got the record of, or had it, I don't know if he still does, but it was over 300 miles an hour in a quarter mile. And somebody said, so how do you handle fear? And he said, I've been on fire at 300 miles an hour. He said, you want to come with me? You'll know what fear is. He said, he said, I don't fear talking to people. He said, that's about as, about as much fear as I want to experience. But, you know, fear really is, it's taking a past experience, projecting it into the future with the anticipation of it happening again, and then re-experiencing it in the moment. So the question is fear real? Well, yes and no. If you bring it into the moment, it's very real. Even though it's a false fear, it's not real fear, but you've made it up. So if you made it up, it's in your consciousness and you're experiencing it. That's the problem. Again, that's back to, don't try to control things that are beyond your control.